And good morning at 7:04 on this Friday, March 17th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our program here on a Friday, the Friday edition of Coleman and Company. And we're on the air for Wilson Bank and Trust. Today, we have Jim Watley with us. Jim is a financial advisor, and I should say Jim Watley, CLU. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you?
Certified life underwriter.
Yeah, that's an old designation I've held for 25 years or so, but it's an old estate planning designation.
Well, you've been around a long time, been doing what you're doing, and had a successful run, and I guess we could commend you for that. You like what you're doing, don't you?
I do. It's always different. It's always different. And I got licensed in 1987. I've been with the bank since 1999. So it has been good, and got some more left in me.
The office that you work from, you work out of Mount Juliet, isn't it?
We're in Mount Juliet. We have a team of 5 out there. Justin Doris and Ann Weiler are advisors along with myself. And then we have a support staff of 2 more. So, yeah, we're doing well out in Mount Juliet. We're in the main office there at North Mount Juliet Road and Old Lebanon Dirt Road.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a lot in the banking industry that we could talk about. And, of course, you're in the investment side. Last year was not a good investment year, really. And I'm still wondering what this year is going to be.
Yeah, it's really been a couple of 2 or 3 years since the pandemic. Really, it's just been really difficult to manipulate and move through markets. Last year, as you mentioned, was really nowhere to hide. Both stocks and bonds got hit pretty hard. That usually doesn't happen. But the good news is we're past that. We do think things are getting better. We think these rate ratchets from the Fed are working. The economy is going to slow down in the second half, and that is probably good if we want to try to get inflation under control, which of course is the goal. Mm-hmm. Probably a good time, if you look back over the last 10 to 15 years, kind of that buy the dip philosophy has worked, and I don't think this time's going to be any different. I think it's probably a really good time to buy just balanced portfolios because, again, both stocks and bonds are down. That's a fairly rare occurrence, and we feel like there's a lot of value there without taking a whole lot of risk.
How do you read your clientele and the general public here who are investors? Are they a little skittish? Are they really afraid? Are they maybe more optimistic than you might think? I'm wondering.
Yeah, I think it's still pretty pessimistic. Just generally, people are worried. We were just talking about just things that are going on economically that are concerning. But at the end of the day, we've been here before. Really, the market on average is negative almost every year. It just finishes up most years. So we think things will be fine, especially for the long-term investor, 3 to 5 years or more. You should be comfortable buying risk assets right now. But in answer to your question, we are getting a lot of inquiries just about more conservative investments. And of course, they look better since rates have come up. We're seeing some nice yields that we haven't seen in over a decade with even instruments like CDs or municipal bonds. They're well above where they've been over the last decade or so.
Do you pretty much recommend diversity?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You want to be well diversified so that, again, 22 was just a kind of a rare year where unless you owned gas or oil, you were in the red for the year. So there was just nowhere to hide. But again, that probably is what makes it such a good value now.
Well, do you still have some new people who decide they need to use your services? I mean, your entire the people you deal with are not people you've had for 10 or 15 years, I take it.
Well, we're very fortunate here in Middle Tennessee. There's a lot of growth here, a lot of folks moving out here. So absolutely, we're seeing new faces all the time. Right now, it's tax time, so we're opening a lot of IRAs and contributions and retirement accounts. So absolutely, we always have a pretty good steady flow of folks to talk to.
As far as an initial approach, when somebody comes to you the first time, there's no charge for your sitting and talking with them, getting acquainted, and maybe offering a little advice, is there?
That's exactly right. We all work for the bank. You can go to your local Wilson Bank and Trust branch, and you have access to an advisor. We're just like any other bank service in that we want to provide consultation. We hope you do business with us, but that initial consultation will just be about getting to know you a little bit and trying to see where you're at and where we can help you. And if we can't help you, then that's fine too. But we're happy to talk to folks, and there is no fee on an initial consultation.
All right, Jim Watley has been here for Wilson Bank and Trust. We've talked about investments, so there's that little disclaimer we need to do.
Yep, we're in a bank, so most of what we do in the investment department is not FDIC insured. And of course, if we're talking about risk assets, there's possible loss of principal.
All right, Wilson Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender. They're still here, still independent, still committed to you. Excellence in banking since 1987. Jim, thank you so much.
Thank you, Coleman.
All right, we're 10 and a half after the hour. It's Friday. That means it's time for our Friday Senate report. And here he is, Senator Mark Pody.
Good morning, Coleman. What a great day to be alive.
Oh, it's even if the rain is falling and it's going to get colder, still a great day.
Yeah, but I don't see any green on you. This is St. Patrick's Day.
Does underwear count?
Well, you know what?
I don't see any green on you either.
I know. I don't have. It's because my wife's gone. She's coming back today.
Oh.
And today's actually, we've been married now 49 years and 10 months today. This is the 17th, so we're anxious to get her back. She's been...
You're saying the 17th of May will be 50 years?
50 years, 17th of May. We're looking forward to it. She kind of tracks it by the year. I try and track it by the day.
Well, it's always good to see you, and we are able, through you, to kind of keep close tabs on the state Senate. And there's always a lot to talk about. And if we could, this morning, I wanted to get this out first, but there's been some controversy regarding, I think he's the Speaker of the Senate, and Senator Randy McNally. What's going on there that you can tell us?
So he actually, there was some things on social media that he commented on. And I think that what he commented on was probably things that I would not have commented on. So the pictures and such that he commented on were of people that weren't fully dressed, and probably he should not have done that. And it turns out he's done that for not just one time, but for at least for the last several years. So we feel that that's not appropriate. Now, he's went ahead and apologized for that. However, the question is, should he continue to be the Speaker of the Lieutenant Governor, Speaker of the Senate? And that's going to be a collective wisdom of the Senate, and there's 33 of us, and we'll be meeting next week to actually kind of talking through and then holding a vote. Does he have the confidence of the Senate at this point? So we'll know within the next week what's going to be happening on that.
Any prediction here?
Now, Coleman, I got to tell you, every single person alive has done something incorrect, and he's been a great leader for many, many, many years. In fact, he's one of the longest-serving people in the history of Tennessee. But the fact that he did something that was very, very silly and foolish, and I don't appreciate what he did. When I told him, in fact, I've talked to him about it, and I said, you really put us in a bad spot. Being the leader and being a leader like that, you should hold yourself to a higher standard. So we'll see next week exactly what's going to be happening.
Has he somewhat apologized?
Oh, yes. He's publicly apologized, and he sent a letter out and such, but we'll have to wait and see. And I can give an update on it. Probably by next Friday, we'll know a lot more about what's going on. But we are going to be addressing it, and the Senate's coming together next week to do that.
Okay. What else has happened? We need to go to a break here, but if you tell us what maybe next you want to talk about, so people will stay with us through the break.
Well, absolutely. I can tell you that we got 2 bills that were passed concerning Lebanon, Tennessee. So they got passed this week.
All right. We'll talk about that after we take this break. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's 7:13. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. It's all brought to you by Bates Ford. Lifetime brake pad guarantee. With the purchase of a brake service, replacement brake pads will be provided at no cost for as long as the customer owns a vehicle. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. We're watching traffic build in the normal spots for this time of the morning. I-40 coming through Mount Juliet, leaving Wilson County, headed towards Nashville. It's been in pretty good shape so far now. 65 through Robertson County. We got our fingers crossed that everything's going to go smoothly there on 24 as that starts to build eastbound up by Whites Creek Pike there in the Jolton area. You got all that traffic behind it coming in from Montgomery County. Nash Painting services all of Middle Tennessee. Ask about their vapor blaster that removes paint without dust damaging the house. It's pretty neat, actually. Check it out at nashpainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
For 35 years, Wilson Bank and Trust has been proud to serve communities all across Middle Tennessee. As an independent local bank, we provide our customers with big bank solutions delivered with personalized local service. We don't just work in Middle Tennessee, we live here too. And we know that the best way to serve our neighbors is to be a good neighbor ourselves. We've been doing that for 35 years, and we look forward to many more. Wilson Bank and Trust, Middle Tennessee's community bank, member FDIC.
Live it up with the deal of a lifetime from TDS. Get symmetrical 1 gig fiber internet for only $59.99 a month, and the price is locked for life. Same price today, next year, the year after, you get the idea. Plus, no contract and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Future-proof, inflation-proof, super-fast 1 gig internet, only $59.99 a month for life. Life's good. Visit tdstv.com/lifetime. Internet speeds are up to and not guaranteed. Subject to availability. See website for details.
Coleman and Company, we thank you for joining us here on a Friday morning. Friday Center reports under Mark Polk. All right, something concerning Lebanon here.
Yeah, so most of my bills are going right through, and 2 of the bills that we had, the Lebanon City Council had sent us some resolutions that they wanted their charter changed. One of them happens to be to let the locals authorize the City Council to set the threshold over which public advertising and sealed competitive bids are required for non-emergency and non-priority purchases. So we went ahead and approved that. They were asking us to do it, and we did. So now it's going to be up to the City Council to make that decision whether they wanted to actually accept that or not. The other one was subject to local approval, authorizes in the absence of a city attorney that an assistant city attorney could sign contracts. Right now, that if the city attorney's not there, the contracts can't be signed, but they want the authorization to let somebody else sign if they need to. And again, that should be a local decision, so we're letting them do that. But they were both passed on the Senate last night, or yesterday morning, I should say. Now we're throwing it back to Lebanon to make the final decisions. Something else that happened is, first time since I've been there was a main water break in the Corridor Hall building. So they shut the building down. And so we had no staff, we had nothing, the bathrooms didn't work. It was an interesting day at the Capitol.
Which day was that?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. Well, is it repaired?
It's repaired. So it got repaired, last night, and it's all fixed, and we are ready to do business again. So the staff will be back in. I'm sure that they got a lot of catching up to do. I'm sure my phone calls, emails, and such are way behind at this moment.
Well, now, will you be there today? Friday, you're not usually there, right?
Friday, I won't be going in, but I know Debbie will be there, and she'll be calling me to kind of get caught back up with what's going on. Something else that happened last night, or yesterday, is some things that people in Wilson County would like to have raffles, okay? Or they want to do bingo, they want to do different programs, but they got to actually apply every single year to say, hey, it's not legal unless we get an exception because we're nonprofit and so forth. And so we approved several of those. And one of them was the Mount Juliet Rotary Foundation, and this is so they can have a breakfast reverse raffle. The Rotary Club can, and another one is the Wildcat Dugout Club, for the high school. And they're going to have their Chili's super silent auction reverse raffle there. And then we did another one for the Wilson County Community Help Center. They got that duck derby that goes on on a regular basis. So we approved those. That came through. So, it's almost a formality, but it has to be done, and we have to vote on that to get those done. So we did that as well. We also went ahead and we voted on, or actually something came through about daycares. And Coleman, I voted against this, and I want to kind of walk through. It's not that I'm against kids. It's not that, but there was a push to say this, that maybe we should provide daycare for a lot of people from when the child is born up till they go to school. And they said we could use some of the money out of the lottery funds. And there's a little bit of money in the lottery fund that we use for the Tennessee Promise. And I look at this like we did this back in the 1930s when they started Social Security. And they started it, and they said there's going to be so much money in that account that nobody's ever going to have to worry. And then in the 40s and 50s, they started robbing it just a little tiny bit. And then the 60s, 70s, they kept robbing it, saying, oh, there's all this money in there. And you know what, Coleman? Now that Social Security is in trouble because they robbed it, and they were using it for not what it was intended for. And people my age were saying, we put in my entire life for Social Security, and that money's not necessarily there, and now it's just loans and debt and such. They want to do the same thing with what we did with the lottery fund. We said the lottery fund is going to be very specific to help kids get through college, Tennessee Promise and such, and there is some money in there, but like last year, we had a huge problem with the investment. And we didn't have as much money in that fund. It didn't hardly cover the expenses. And now they want to go in and rob for another good idea and say, hey, we want to take care of kids. We want to do this. Let's just try and take that money out.
Well,
Coleman, no.
What? Okay, I certainly appreciate what you're saying there, but what exactly are they wanting to do here? You mentioned that, but elaborate. What would, if they took this money or if they appropriated it from somewhere else, what's it supposed to do?
So if young families have babies, that we would pay for their child care. No. That's simply no. That's not in the Constitution. That's not what we're supposed to do. Listen, I got grandkids myself, and I watch some of the grandkids myself, but it's up to each individual family to help make these decisions as they're planning their family. What are they going to do? How are they going to do it? What's the timing for their family, and how are they going to pay for it? It's not up to government to make these decisions.
When I hear these sorts of things brought up, now I've never heard of this being mentioned before, that we should do that. So, and then I think, well, then if we do this, then what's coming after that? I mean, pretty soon, will people not have any responsibility? Is the government going to do it all?
The governor proposed that we buy diapers for them. Now I voted no, but it passed out of committee. It literally passed out of my committee. This is not in the Constitution. I would not vote for this. It's not up to government to take everybody's money and make decisions how it should be spent. We have to stay within our lanes. We have to say, what I do want to spend money on is transportation. Let's fix our roads. Let's do those things. It is not to take care of absolutely everybody's needs. And they're great ideas.
Well,
good ideas.
What's the rationale for those who are proponents of this? Where are they coming from? I hate to think that people design legislation just to stay in office, to get votes, in other words. I think there's some of that goes on, but surely there's more.
It's a hardship is what the argument was. It's a hardship for these young families to pay for daycare.
Well, there's no question that it is. I don't have any problem there. Sure there is. And I remember living from paycheck to paycheck, and I mean, we've always been able to put food on the table, but there's times you wondered where the next dollar's coming from.
Yes. And that's the argument. We should help these young families, and so they don't have that financial burden. And I appreciate that. I do. I got my own grandkids, and I understand this burden. But it is not the government's responsibility to take care of every single problem.
You had any comments much from your constituents regarding that?
This just happened this week, so I haven't had any comments yet. And, I've had some, that kind of say, Pody, you're just hard-hearted. You don't care about kids. And that's not it at all. Coleman, it's just, we have to do whatever our government role is and do it well and stay out of the things we're not supposed to do.
Well, just some of these things just, Well, quite honestly, if I express my opinion, sometimes I do. They're a little bit obnoxious to me, to be honest. It's just, I understand. I know times are hard, but there's times have always been hard for somebody.
Yes, yes. And you know what? If we can cut taxes, when we can put more money into these young families' pockets where we're not taking that money, let them then make those decisions what they want to do. So that happened, and it did pass out of committee. I did vote against it. It's not that I'm against kids. It's not that I'm against young families, but I am going to try and stand up for every single person's financial responsibility and what government's supposed to do. And I watch our dollars. We just don't have enough money to do everything for everybody.
All right, what else is on your list there?
So we're going through, Coleman. These are the bills that we still have to be heard. This is what we're going to be hearing this week. And I'm on state and local. I've got 135 bills in state and local government that we got to be listening to. Judiciary has 167 bills on the calendar this week. Commerce and Labor. Now, I'm not on that committee, but they're on their last meeting. They'll be shutting down probably next week. They got 65 bills left to hear. Health, they're down to their last 25 bills. They'll be closing down. And I am on education. This week alone, I've got 85 bills on education alone that we're going to do. But education will be closing down next week as well. Agriculture's already closed down. Energy's closed down. Transportation closed down. We are on the downhill slide.
What's it look like, some of those education bills? Any controversy there?
There's a lot of controversy, and I'm actually going to be meeting with Jeff Luttrell, and Jeff is a really good guy. He'll sit down, and I think he was just on your show,
Wednesday, yeah.
Yep, and so he's a really intelligent guy to kind of help walk through what does help and doesn't help. I've talked to Lebanon Special School District, and Brian Huddle always sends somebody on a weekly basis to sit down and talk with us as well, and we try and go over some of these education bills, and a lot of times it's in the details. It'll say, boy, we're doing something good here, but if you read the rest of the bill, it might not be so good. One of them that we're talking about right now is should schools be fined if all their school doors are not locked? We want to keep the outside doors locked to make sure that they're safe and such, but they're suggesting that they put a pretty big fine on the schools if they don't keep those doors locked. And we want to keep them locked, but what happens if they don't? What happens if somebody gets in? And so we're just talking through those kind of issues.
How do you feel about that? I've got my idea, but
So, we were talking, and somebody yesterday, when we were going through the advisory board, they said one school alone had over 100 doors to the outside. And, it's like, what happens if you got a teacher saying, hey, I just got to carry this out to the car or whatever, and just want to get right back in? Does that mean that it's unlocked? Or would that be fine because that teacher's carrying something in or out? But then sometimes somebody will step outside to do smoke, and they put a book in the door to keep it open purposely. Yeah. What is the right balance on this? And we want to keep the kids safe. We want to keep the schools safe. And unfortunately, it's the times that we live in right now that we even got to consider these.
If you're going to have a fine, couldn't it be for something that's really, really terrible? Not something that's, to me, having a door there to go out to the car, that's kind of nitpicky.
Yes, and so that's some of the things that were talked about right there. And then we had law enforcement that was in there, and they said, you know what? If you're a criminal, you're waiting for something like that to happen. You're waiting for somebody to, like, if it was a car, they run into a Kroger or whatever and leave the car running, the keys in it. There's the responsibility of everybody to keep your things safe, keep it locked up. On the other hand, we're human beings. We're just going to do things it's easy and common sense as well.
I think I could see where there's a time where there might be a fine, but I don't think it's some of these little things like that. That's just the way I think. Yeah.
and so Coleman, it was a mixed vote when we did it.
Yeah.
And so there was both arguments, on each side. And a lot of times when I'm doing the advisory board, sometimes things will go through 100% one way, either good or bad, up or down. And I love it because then I have clear direction.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
when votes come in and if there's like 17 people there and you got, 9 on one and 8 on the other, it's like, okay, you guys did not give me real good, clear direction which way to vote on things like this.
Well, I wonder too if how much a deterrent that fine would be.
Well, we'd be just telling the schools to try and be more cautious in what they're doing, and I think what would happen is something like this. The good compromise would be to say, look, the first couple of times you get a warning, but then, after, if it continues to happen in the same school, same door, that means it's an issue you've not addressed, and perhaps a fine would be appropriate.
Well, you're sounding better all the time. We got about a minute. Anything else in particular you want to hit on, or you want to tell us next week, or
sure?
where
So,
you're going to be
so we are
today,
we're literally starting on the downhill slide. As committees start closing down, the biggest thing, all the budget hearings are done, and we're going to be expecting the governor in the next probably next week or the next 10 days. He's going to be giving his budget final amendment and proposal. So he's given us his original one. Now there's a lot of things that need to be funded or adjusted or traded around, and he's going to be making those adjustments. Once we have that final budget from him in the next week or so, then we're going to put our budget together as the Senate. The House will be doing the same thing, putting their budget together, and then it's just a working of the compromise between all three budgets to say which one are we going to vote on, and we're going to be done. So we're almost over. All
right. Well, thank you so much for being here. We'll look forward to your appearance next week on our Friday Senate report, and I hope things go well. And you'll have some more big news for us probably next week.
Absolutely. Thanks, Coleman.
All right. Senator Mark Pody, our Friday Senate report here on Coleman and Company. We'll take a break. Stay tuned for Stay with us for part 2. Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And at 7:29, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Bates Ford, get $50 off $250 repair offer to owners of 4 to 10-year-old Ford, Lincoln, or Mercury vehicles. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. They're still trying to work this truck crash here. Everybody's just staring at it as they drive by. Pretty good delay, actually, on 65 southbound at Long Hollow Pike as you come out of that section of Sumner County into Davidson. It's got it back up all the way to White House. That's going to back it up all the way into Robertson County. Again, it's a pretty good slowdown over here on 65 southbound. Just trying to get past Long Hollow Pike. I-40's picking up through the Mount Juliet area, Wilson County, headed towards Nashville. Give yourself a little bit of extra time out here just to play it safe. Hey, Princess Hot Chicken is catering. Log on today, princesshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Well, we're moving on now. Are you ready to move on up to your next dream home? We are full-time real estate professionals with over 42 years of combined experience. We will get the job done for you to move on up. Ready for a deluxe apartment in the sky? Remember, don't make a move without us.
Call Judy Cox or Medina Himmentaler at Exit Rocky Top Realty. C&D Team 443-3130.
We're moving on up to the sky.
Starting off with periods of rain this morning, but things should dry out by midday. Look for a high of 58 degrees with clouds lingering through the evening. Temperatures drop below freezing again overnight with a low of 27 degrees. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm number 1 Ned.
Coleman and Company, welcome to part 2 of Friday morning, and our friends, the C&D team of Exit Rocky Top Realty. 2 of those on the team are here, the usual 2, we might say. Judy Cox, good morning.
Good morning.
And Medina Himmentaler, good morning.
Good morning.
You want to say that again?
Good morning.
All right, I got you turned up a little bit better here.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, it is 17th of March, and there'll be a lot of celebrating today, won't there?
A lot of pinching going on.
Yes.
We were talking about the basketball NCAA, and I told you I was boycotting it because Vanderbilt didn't get selected. I did watch a little, but the Volunteers won by 3 last night.
That's
So
right.
you're happy about that.
Yes, we are.
And
But Vanderbilt should have been in it.
who you catch next?
No, I don't.
I just keep up with
I've heard, but I've already forgotten. It's too complicated. But we would like to remind everybody, of course, that you're located on West Main Street, 1330 West Main, to be exact. Great people, great service. You're people you can trust. And every once in a while, we'll let Medina say it 2 or 3 times. So go ahead and do it first this morning.
Don't make a move without us.
All right,
Number
good
1.
advice. Miss Judy, you going to get us started?
Yes, this is Realtor Safety Month, and I was going to say a couple things about that. As realtors, as any profession now, you have to stay aware of your surroundings and what you're doing, but it's changed over the years because back in the day in the 90s, somebody walk in the office then without the computers and stuff, people couldn't look up the houses like they do now, and they'd walk in the office and say, I want to see such and such a house, and it was nothing just to hop in the truck with them. You didn't know them, you just met them, get in the truck, go ride to look at houses, and you were riding with complete strangers that you knew nothing about. And back then, we didn't think anything about it. That's just what you did. And of course, now you look back and go, oh boy, it's a lot of difference now than what it was. And I don't think we had the fear factors that we have now. But now we have, most offices have things in place that, we have the license tags of most people before we go out. And we bring them in the office and actually meet them. And a lot of people now, they follow you. They don't ride in the car with you because of all the liability now that we used to carry that we never thought about. I mean, there's lots of things that we have to do different. Now, you have to be careful if you serve food at an open house and that kind of thing. A kid gets sick from nuts or chocolate and everything now you have to stop and think, am I going to get in trouble for this down the road? So, and the things that we did to be hospitality to people, you have to be careful anymore. So, we would always have some kind of food, and now you just have to be very careful. And if there's any kind of alcohol served at open houses or anything like that, you have to be careful. You're liable because they were at your function. So, lots of things, and we always try to make sure that, like I say, most people follow you now, and there's things you always want them to get in the driveway first, and you park behind them so you can get out if you need to be. And going down steps, going up steps, going in basements, and especially as women, we have to be aware of what's going on because there's lots of times we're showing a home to a male by himself, and it doesn't matter if it's a husband, wife, and a bunch of kids. You never know what people are going to do anymore, so you have to be careful. And most agents take the gun courses. Most agents do carry. And it's very smart to do that. That's my opinion only. I wouldn't go without it.
Mine too.
I mean, and so I'll always be aware of that.
I got to say it. Pistol packing, mama.
Well, as Bev Spickard, I took classes from him, and he always said, the rule of thumb is if you put your finger on the trigger, be ready to pull it.
Yeah.
Don't ever put it on the trigger if you're not going to pull it. Don't stand there and go, I'm going to kill you. Just do it if that's what you're going to do. And things like that, you just have to be aware of your surroundings. And we try to research the people and know something about them because it's not unusual for somebody to walk in the office and they're from California or New York. They know nobody here and they go, we just want to get out and ride the community and see what it's like. Well, here we go. Yeah. And so, how much can you learn about somebody in 15 minutes? So and sometimes that happens. So we've got safety measures in place, and most of the realtors around town have taken the classes. If somebody comes up behind you and grabs you, what to do, and the safety courses, we've taken most of those because there's ways to do, and you have to be careful because there's ways to hide your guns that people don't know in notebooks and pocketbooks that you shoot through, and so there's lots of stuff.
Tell you what, after listening to you this morning, I don't mess with y'all.
Well, you have to just be aware of what's going on because people can come and, I guess the lady that got killed in Dallas that time, the realtor, she was a friend of mine, and she was at open house, and the guy came, the family came, looked at the house, and the next door neighbor across the street saw all this is the only reason they know what happened. But she saw the man come out and take the open house sign down and pull his truck into the garage. So she thought, oh, good, somebody's bought that house during open house. So they took the sign down so nobody else would come. And in the meantime, they took all the stuff out of that house and stole it and put it in their truck. And they killed the agent and put her in a closet and left. So when she didn't come home, her husband went looking for her, and her car was still there, and that's what happened to her.
That's
so
terrible.
So you don't, I mean, people, it was a great scheme because nobody paid any attention. The sign, open house sign was down, so everybody thought, well, it's over. And the neighbor just happened to make a picture because she thought it was going to be her new neighbors. She made a picture of the truck, and that's how they caught the guy.
Well.
So, it's the kind of thing. There are, agents can tell you some really scary stories. And most of the time you have a feeling. Most of the time, follow your gut. If you kind of feel funny that something's not right with these people, you have to be careful and use your brain here, and not about, I got to make a sale. It's got to be, I got to be safe.
Yeah.
So, heads up, it's Realtor Safety Month. Just pay attention to your surroundings.
Well, thanks for that. But
On a brighter note,
it's got to be your turn. On a brighter note.
On a brighter note and a quick note, is we have 2 coming soon properties, and I'll just give you a little blip about it, and then we'll talk about it more next week. But one of them is here in Lebanon. It's in the Greens on down 231 North, and it's going to be listed for $349,900, and it's 3 bedrooms and 2 full baths with the primary bedroom downstairs, and then it's got a fenced-in backyard. And then the second one will be in Smithville, downtown, DeKalb County, and it's a 2 bedroom and 1 bath, and it's going to be listed for $224,900. So and that's 1 level as well. So if you're looking for a house here or there or in between, give us a call, and we have property, land, farms, and lots here in Lebanon. They range anywhere from $100,000 all the way to $2.6 million. So give us a call, and we'll be glad to help you with any kind of real estate need that you have.
That's why you don't make a move without me.
That's exactly right. You never know where we're going, so you got to don't make a move without us.
Well, thank you all for being with us. Hope you have a great week. We'll try to do it again next Friday. And some good advice always from Miss Judy. We appreciate that.
We just want you to be
said,
safe.
Realtor Safety Month.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
Okay. Well, again, they are people you can trust. 1330 West Main, the C&D team, Exit Rocky Top Realty. And one more time.
Don't make a move without us.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're 20 before the hour, and my guest is Gail Hibbert this morning. She's Director of Marketing and Events for the Farm Bureau Expo Center. Gail, good morning.
Good morning.
Now, I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I don't think it's going to be guns and protecting yourself.
It will not be gun safety, I can assure you. Although we do have the upcoming gun show.
On that subject, though, I mean, you are at the Farm Bureau Expo Center, and safety's got to be of concern.
It is. Just listening to the 2 of them talk about it, first of all, hadn't thought about the safety issues for realtors. So, wow, I have a whole new appreciation. But it is a concern. We have a great big building, and that is one of the reasons why we keep the doors locked unless you have an appointment or there's an event going on. A lot of people get confused about that, and it's a safety measure. And so, as you can imagine, if we just had the doors open and people just came and went as they wanted, at the end of the day, it would take us a very long time to check every nook and cranny to make sure somebody didn't come in with ill intent and hide somewhere. And that makes me nervous because I'm there in the evenings a lot. And that building makes funny sounds as it is. I don't need to be worried about somebody else being in the building. So,
well, if you had a security guard out front at the entrance, that might make a little difference. But that's pretty open. The Ward Ag Center's a pretty open thing.
It is, because you've got multiple gates that you can come in. So, security is...
And a lot of reasons for a lot of people to come in. And I think...
That's correct.
Unless we have some tragedy, the way we've got it going, I like it. But on your part here, I don't blame you for locking those doors.
Right. Well, if you want to call and make an appointment, sometimes we can do same days, sometimes we can't based on what's going on. But if you want to call, make an appointment, we're more than happy to accommodate you, and we'll give you the walkthrough if that's what you're looking to do. If you're looking to come in to pay, we'll open the door and let you come in and pay. If you've just got questions and just want to kind of explore the possibility of what we have, we're happy to do that too. But advance notice helps so that we can plan accordingly. Plus, we also have to look out for, if we have an event setting up, we can't interfere with that either. So there's that as well.
Well, I've passed by there several times in the last few days and weeks. Seems like you've got a lot going. There's been a parking lot full of cars lots of times out there recently.
That is correct. It's been so busy. And, kind of in the same vein on the security, we have events that we require security for. And they hire our local Wilson County Sheriff Department because we are county. So they hire them to provide security. And we take that very seriously. Like if there's kids involved in the activity, there must be security there. If there's alcohol being served, they must have security during that period of time as well. And, it's a nice kind of give and take. We're able to support the Sheriff Department. And, sometimes Lebanon Police get involved as well. Like maybe the Sheriff Department can't provide that service because they're completely booked out. So, we've always got the Lebanon Police Department.
Well, we're approaching time for a break, but any particular thing you're wanting to address this morning?
Well, I'll tell you, we do have a gun show coming up in May. We just had one last weekend. It was probably a little slower than normal, but it was also the first time the gun show's been able to have one in the spring, early in the spring. They've not been able to. They've wanted dates, but I just don't have them. Yeah. So we had an opening and they took advantage of that. So we've got one coming up in May, and we have a whole lot of things that are coming up, but a couple in particular that I'll talk about a little bit later.
As far as the gun show, is that kind of different from any other thing you have, or is it? I'm wondering.
Well, yes and no.
Yeah.
It's like a trade show. I mean, they have a whole lot of vendors that come in and they set up tables. But here's the interesting. So they have security, obviously. If somebody's bringing a gun in to sell or check, it gets checked before they get anywhere near anybody else. Mm-hmm. And it's zip tied so that it's obvious that gun has been checked. If there is a gun in there that somebody's bringing in or somebody pulls out of their pocket and it's not been zip tied, that's a problem. And they have security that's walking the space as well as security that's private security that they have for checking those guns. Plus, that's a lot of value in that room overnight. And so they hire security to sit with all that stuff at night. So you don't want to try to go in the expo that night unless you call and say, who I am, and I have a reason to be in there, and they know you're coming in, because it would probably not be a pleasant entrance if you did not. But I appreciate that because he's, and Rex, who runs RK Shows, he has been just incredible and to work with. And he also, he had the billboard company made a huge mistake and posted that we were having an event when we were not having an event. And, he paid for security to come out and be there to answer questions for people and turn them away, because as it turned out, we had a dance competition, not a gun show. And the biggest fear we both had was we don't need people walking in with guns trying to sell or trade them while we've got a dance show.
Right.
And it made a huge difference. No issues. They addressed everything parking lot side.
Well, for Gail, all in a day's work.
Yeah, just another thing to think about.
We got to take a break right here. Gail Hibbert with the Farm Bureau Expo Centers here. More coming up on Coleman and Company FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:47. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks, Absolute Kubota. They'll help you rent the right tool for the job. The Kubota Orange Rental Program makes it easy to rent the right equipment. Stop by Absolute Kubota. Check out the U35 excavator or the SVL 75 compact track loader, 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Still struggling down through Millersville right now on 65 southbound. They're trying to clear up an accident involving a truck. It went off into the median there. That's what everybody's doing. They're just staring at that truck that crashed here on 65 southbound just before Lone Hollow Pike. Again, it's affected the traffic flow coming through that small section of Sumner County into Robertson County. Again, 65 southbound is just crazy slow north of Nashville. It's building pretty good through Mount Juliet right now. Wilson County traffic headed towards Nashville and down I-40 all the way into Hermitage. Nash Painting services all of Middle Tennessee. Ask them about their vapor blaster that removes paint without dust damaging the house. Log on to nashpainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
Hello, Cumberland baseball fans. I'm Tim Hollick from Nanaimo, British Columbia, Canada, and I'm an infielder on the Phoenix baseball team. We have a big week coming up as we host the third-ranked Tennessee Wesleyan Bulldogs on Tuesday at the 6th. Then Mid-South Conference rivals the Bethel Wildcats visit for a single game Friday and a doubleheader on Saturday. Come on out to the 6th and check us out or listen on 98.9 FM or 1490 AM or at WANTFM.com or GoCumberlandAthletics.com. Go Phoenix!
Gregory Dental Group in Lebanon is a family dental practice located across from Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. They offer cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and now featuring new digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments. No insurance, no problem. Call about our discount plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs. I look forward to meeting you.
Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322, West Medora Parkway across from Gibbs Pharmacy.
Thanks for joining us here on a Friday morning. Gail Hibbert, Marketing and Events for the Farm Bureau Expo Center is right here. And what else do we need to talk about?
We have got some really interesting events coming up.
All right.
And so Spring Thaw, Tom Williams puts on that event every year, motorcycle based. That's coming up. Always fun to see what comes with that, much like Redneck Rumble. He's got Redneck Rumble coming up in June, also again this year. Real excited, MTAR is bringing their banquet out to us. So a whole new, they typically do a trade show every year out with us, and so I've never seen the banquet. So this is going to be exciting to see that, where they celebrate, speaking of realtors, you know, they that's what they do. If you're into cars, if you're into slammed cars, tricked out cars, you know, cars that have lifts on them, all that good stuff, they'll be out there in April for a show. It's probably the only time I've ever seen. He's amazing. He gets cars. We have 10 by 10 blocks that are identifiable on the floor in the main exhibit hall. He will park a car at an angle in every one of those blocks. Yeah. I feel sorry for the guy that's the first one in, because I can guarantee you he will be the last one out. But it's great for seeing the cars. Great for seeing the cars. And like I said, we have arcade gun shows coming up in May. Then we have a brand new event that's coming out of Nashville to us. They have bought out the entire ag grounds, and I'm super excited to have brought them in. They're called ICCC. I know Imperial Commissary is in that name, but I don't remember what the rest of it is. But it's basically anything and everything Star Wars. I mean, if you are a Star Wars fan, this is the event for you. Probably most notable is he is bringing celebrities to the show. So if you're a Star Wars fan, these things will probably resonate with you, because he's bringing out the Phantom Menace, the actor that played the Phantom Menace, the voice.
All right.
He's bringing that person out. That is Ian McDiarmid. And then Stephen Constantino, he is the big rhino-looking guard that was in Jabba's sail barge. So again, if you got to be into Star Wars to get this. But I was fascinated by this list. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And how about Darth Vader?
Oh,
everybody knows Darth Vader, right? That's pretty significant. And then Jimmy V was R2-D2's voice, and kind of brought R2-D2 to life. And so R2-D2 is going to be there. And then he has Fema Taylor, who was, I think her character name was Ula, and she was in Jabba's palace. And then Freddie, I was unfamiliar with this one. It was Freddie Prinze, and he was the Kanan Jarrus, and I don't remember which episode that was in, but it's very interesting that he has so many celebrities coming. So if you're into collectibles, if you want to meet these celebrities, if you want to see, they do a lot of the, I guess it would be like a cosplay. They dress in the costumes, you know, their favorite characters. He's going to have concerts on the grounds. I mean, and this is a 3-day event. It's taking them 3 days to set up, and it's a 3-day event.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
That's correct. Yeah. And that will be May 26th through the 28th. And we are excited to see this happen because, like I said,
Well, that would be, I'm thinking Memorial Day weekend.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. He is taking the entire grounds.
Yeah.
Everything out there is going to be, well, I take that back. I don't think he has 2 of the barns, but essentially, and most people don't rent the barns, but he's got the entire ground. So he, last year in Nashville, had over 6,000 people. He's expecting, this is considered, after doing some research on the show, it is considered the best Star Wars related show in the world. These characters are coming from different countries and they expect people to come from different states. So huge economic impact for the community. He's bought out 3 hotels.
Suppose there is an admission charge to.
Yeah, and that's not posted yet. You can go online, I'm sure, and get tickets.
But then there's so much more that you can participate in.
Correct.
Eating, buying, meeting and greeting.
That's right. I mean, I would envision. Philip in our office is very familiar with this. He also is a huge Star Wars fan, so that's why. I've had to learn, but according to him, he's like, we can envision people coming to this and pretty much staying all day and probably coming back multiple days, which is why he bought out, I want to say it's 3, could be 4 hotels. So just that is a huge impact in the community. So imagine the restaurant.
How often does that happen?
This has not happened while I've been here.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I haven't heard of that before.
This is amazing. And so, when I was just at the Mount Juliet Chamber Luncheon, and I didn't have very long to speak, but the thing that I tried to emphasize is, the Farm Bureau Expo, we belong to Watertown, we belong to Lebanon, we belong to Mount Juliet. And my goal is to make sure that everybody knows that this is their building. This belongs to the county. And we are doing our level best to bring things in that'll make a positive economic impact on the community. There you go. This is it.
Well,
this is one of the big things.
No doubt going to be, I would think, a lot of publicity about that. I mean,
he has time scheduled right here.
Yeah.
He's done. He has bought commercials. I mean, he has really done his homework. So I'm excited to see this come together. I'm really hoping that it comes together exactly as it's forecasted.
And it might be an annual thing, perhaps?
Yeah. So I didn't let him book multiple years until I saw the first year to see what we were talking about. But yes, that is exactly what he's wanting to do. And I mean, if this turns out the way I think it's going to turn out, this is awesome. And the best part is, it came out of Nashville. That makes me really happy.
Yeah, and really, you said 6,000 attended last year.
In downtown Nashville.
Well, I'm thinking that'd be a drop in the bucket to what you might have here.
He's forecasting up to 20,000 people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is it the fair numbers? No, but it's also not the fair.
Right.
So I'm super excited about it because there will be so much going on. Whether you're a Star Wars fan, a huge fan, live and breathe the fan, unless you could enjoy it whether you were that or not. So I will be checking it out.
If people came from other states to see the eclipse here.
There you go.
They're going to come from other states.
They're going to get charged an admission here, but still, I mean, I think about it as like, I am not a diehard Star Wars fan. I love the movies, but I want to meet Darth Vader.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would be amazing. And R2-D2, my favorite out of there.
Okay. Well, and again, this is Memorial Day weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday prior to the Monday Memorial Day.
It is the 26th, 27th, 28th.
Yeah.
So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday is the event, and then their setup is 3 days prior to that.
Yeah.
So
okay. All right. We got about 2.5 minutes left. What else is on your mind this morning?
I just am really proud to represent the county. And with this building, we have so much. We are working so hard to bring things in that are new and different, and something that the goal has always been and always will be that so everybody has a reason to come out to the expo, and going to conferences, trying to meet new people. Really excited over the fact that Jason Johnson from the CVB and I just went to Convention South, and this is our third time going. And the whole goal was to start to create familiarity. We're here. We're an option, because you don't always get the match while you're there. So it comes afterwards. But this year, people knew us. And we were excited. It's working.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's working. So we're getting the message out.
That in itself is encouraging. It means that what you've done in the past is when you weren't sure,
Correct.
It's coming to fruition. It's good.
When we first went, nobody knew us. Okay. But this year, it was amazing. And we chose it was in Blount County. So we chose to focus on something in Tennessee because it made sense because we were in Tennessee. And so I worked with the fair office and we got their logo that's on their website. We put a gift bag together that included Lisa's kettle corn, local, and then put our stuff in there. And you know what? It was the first time ever that everybody at the luncheon that we presented those at, there were no leftovers.
Huh.
Everybody took them. So I was like, yes, we're making an impact. And the fact that people knew us, that was really encouraging.
Well, it is always good to have you. I hope you have a nice weekend.
Thank you. I will be studying for a comp exam.
You'll be back on this particular Friday in the month of April.
That is correct.
And we'll do it again, find out the latest, and probably talk about Darth Vader again.
I'm sure we will, because I'll have more details then.
All right. Gail Hibbert, Director of Marketing and Events for the Farm Bureau Expo Center. That's going to do it for Friday. Have a nice weekend, and until Monday, I wish you a fantastic day.